Life in Mexico, open sex culture, $500 budget, and why tourists never leave.
What if I told you that you can live like royalty for just $500 a month in a country, where relationships and freedom are viewed through an entirely different lens? Imagine a place where tourists never leave, a country where freedom and adventure come alive in ways you've never experienced before. It's a place where you can truly be yourself, where freedom in all aspects of life is embraced, and there are no judgments. It's a different way of living, one that many tourists, after experiencing it, decide to never leave. Sounds too good to be true, right? But trust me, it's not. That's a valid question. I know it sounds hard to believe, but when you break down the cost of living in Mexico, it starts to make perfect sense. Mexico has a rich culture, yes, but it also has a pace of life that lets you breathe, relax, and really take in what matters. You may have heard about Mexico's reputation in this area, and it might be the reason you clicked on this video. It is not about the wild partying or casual hookups, it is about an acceptance of who people are and how they choose to live. It's the feeling you get when you're here. There is an energy to this country that is hard to explain until you've felt it yourself. It's a sense of community, of being part of something bigger, and of living in a place where you're encouraged to slow down, soak in your surroundings, and enjoy life in a way that most people simply don't get to do back home. Whether it's the warm weather, the vibrant culture, or the friendly locals, Mexico offers an experience that leaves an impression on anyone who visits. And it's that feeling of belonging, of really living, that keeps so many tourists from leaving. And when you experience that freedom, you begin to understand why so many visitors find it difficult to leave. Mexico has a way of welcoming people into its fold, and for some, that means they end up making this place their permanent home. But here is the thing. What many people don't realize is that Mexico's approach to relationships, intimacy, and personal freedom is not about anything goes. It's about openness and acceptance. The truth is, once you arrive here and feel that warmth both in the people and the environment, you start to understand why people don't just come for a vacation and accepting and still have the time of your life. Stick around, because I'm going to show you exactly why Mexico isn't just a place to visit, it as a place that'll make you feel like you're really living your best life, and why so many tourists who come here end up staying. You'll see how this country's freedom, low cost of living, and vibrant culture come together in ways that make it the perfect place to call home. And once you've experienced it, you might just find yourself asking the same question as so many others: why would I ever leave? They come for the lifestyle, and when you experience it, you start thinking, why would I ever leave? It's not about just living somewhere. It's about living well, and that's what Mexico offers in spades. In Mexico, relationships are more relaxed, and there is a level of understanding and non-judgment that isn't as common in other parts of the world, whether you're exploring casual dating or open relationships. The way people communicate about their desires and boundaries is refreshingly honest and laid back. And what is even more interesting is that this freedom doesn't come with the stigma or judgment that often accompanies it elsewhere. It's a culture that respects personal choices. And that openness is a key part of what makes life here feel so different and liberating. This country offers a type of freedom that many tourists fall in love with and just can't seem to leave. What's the secret? Let me tell you, it's a lifestyle rooted in community, a relaxed attitude toward life's stresses, and a deep sense of enjoyment. People here focus on the important things: family, friendships, and living in the moment. It's a world where you don't have to rush, and everything moves at a pace that allows you to really appreciate the simple joys of life. Rent is cheap, utilities are low, and food? You won't believe the quality and affordability of what's available. Think about it. You could rent a decent apartment for as little as $200 a month, buy fresh food from local markets for just a few bucks, and still have plenty left over for dining out or even enjoying some local entertainment. It's a budget-friendly dream come true. And don't worry, I'm not talking about living in some rundown area. Many parts of Mexico offer affordable living. without sacrificing quality of life. You'll see how living on just $500 a month isn't just possible, but it's actually a lifestyle that offers more freedom and joy than you could have imagined. So, get ready to find out why once you step foot here, it might just become your forever home. And trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. This isn't some fantasy. It's the reality for so many people living in Mexico. Imagine this, living comfortably, eating well, and enjoying a lifestyle full of freedom and adventure, all while spending just $500 a month. Sounds too good to be true, right? But in Mexico, it's not only possible, it's a reality that many people are living every single day. Whether it's the incredibly low cost of living or the laid-back, open-minded culture, this country offers something that most places simply don't. This is not the typical getaway vacation destination where you're recounting the days until you return home. Mexico is a place where you can truly live, thrive, and explore without breaking the bank. Curious? You should be. Let's break it all down. Whether it's the laid-back lifestyle, the vibrant culture, or the affordable cost of living, this place has everything you need to start over or live out your dreams without breaking the bank. But that's not all. What if I told you that Mexico is home to one of the most relaxed, open-minded cultures when it comes to relationships? Stick around, because in this video, we're about to uncover why Mexico is quickly becoming the go-to destination for expats and travelers alike. Mexico isn't just a vacation spot, it's a place where you can live your best life for a fraction of what you pay in other countries. You might be asking yourself, how can anyone live on $500 a month? But it's not just about the price tags. It's the lifestyle here that's so different from what you're used to. And now, let's talk about something that's likely piqued your curiosity: the open sexual culture. For many tourists, this open approach to life, whether in dating or simply in how people live their everyday lives, feels like a breath of fresh air. But here's the catch: Mexico's appeal isn't just about the money or the freedom. You might wonder how it is possible for someone to visit Mexico for just a short time and end up staying indefinitely. So, what's the deal? How can you live like royalty on $500 a month, experience a culture that's open? The $500 budget breakdown. How to live like royalty. So, $500 a month sounds like a fantasy, right? But in Mexico, it's not. In fact, it's an everyday reality for many expats and locals. If you're imagining how far your money could really stretch, you're in for a surprise. But here in Mexico, you can rent a decent apartment for as low as $200 a month. I'm not talking about a rundown shack either. I'm talking about apartments that are clean, comfortable, and well located. In fact, many expats are able to live in places that are just a short walk from the beach or vibrant city center, places that would cost you an arm and a leg in other parts of the world. For about $250 to $300, you can easily find a spacious one-bedroom apartment in areas like Mérida, Puerto Escondido, or even parts of Mexico City. Long-distance buses, which are popular and comfortable, can take you from one city to another for as little as $10 to $15. And if you prefer a taxi or a private car ride, it's still very affordable compared to what you'd pay back home. In many smaller towns or cities, you could even rent a bicycle or scooter for a month, which costs next to nothing. These apartments are usually fully furnished, which means you don't have to worry about buying furniture or making a big initial investment. From affordable rent to cheap transportation and food, let's break down how far your $500 actually goes here. Eating out and buying groceries in Mexico is incredibly cheap, especially compared to what you'd spend in the U.S. or Europe. Street food is one of Mexico's greatest treasures. Whether you rate grabbing a taco for $1 or a full meal at a local restaurant for just $5, the variety and quality of food here is unbelievable. I mean, the idea of living on a $500 budget might sound like something out of a dream, right? But I can honestly tell you it's totally possible. And I didn't believe it until I saw it myself. When I first moved here, I thought I'd have to cut corners and live in some tiny, rundown place just to make it work. But instead, I found a cozy apartment with all the amenities I needed for just $250 a month, I was amazed. Not only was the rent incredibly affordable, but I could actually afford to eat out a few times a week, enjoy some local activities, and still have money left over to save. If you're into Mexican cuisine, and who isn't, you'll have no trouble satisfying your cravings. On a budget, but it's not just about tacos. You can find everything from freshly grilled fish to delicious moles, all at prices that are far cheaper than what you'd pay for a comparable meal in a Western country. With a budget of $150 to $200 a month, you can easily cover all your meals, whether it's cooking at home or dining out. Grocery stores are full of fresh produce, meats, and other essentials at prices that will make your jaw drop. You can buy a week's worth of groceries, including fresh fruit, vegetables, eggs, meats, and snacks, for around $30 to $50. I can't even begin to tell you how much cheaper it is to buy fresh, local ingredients than it is back home. And the quality? It's top-notch. You'll find that the food in Mexico is fresh, flavorful, and much more affordable. On average, monthly utility bills in Mexico run between $20 and $50, depending on the size of your apartment and the time of year. Let me tell you, I was shocked when I first saw my utility bill here. It was so much cheaper than what I'd been paying in other countries. If you're someone who uses air conditioning, you might see a slight increase in your bill, but even then, it's still pretty affordable. For example, in places like Mexico City, the cost of electricity is very manageable, and it's easy to find ways to save on bills, like using fans instead of AC or taking shorter showers. Well, the answer is simple. Living costs in Mexico are much lower than in many Western countries, especially the United States and Canada. Yes, you heard that right. In comparison to the $50 to $100 you might pay in other countries, that's a huge difference. This means that if you're working remotely, running a business, or just using the internet for entertainment, you won't have to worry about high monthly bills. People here tend to live with less space, and properties are smaller, but that doesn't mean they're lacking in comfort or amenities. Whether it's for gas, car payments, or public transport fares, getting around can get expensive quickly. But in Mexico, transportation is incredibly affordable. A monthly transportation budget of $20 to $30 is more than enough, and if you think that means you'll be cramped into smelly, overcrowded buses or trains, think again. While public transportation can be crowded in the bigger cities, it's also efficient and very inexpensive. Buses, metros, and even taxis cost you more than a few dollars to get you from one part of town to another. And because the demand for housing in certain areas is more manageable than in overcrowded cities, like New York or Los Angeles, rents stay much more affordable. When you think of the cost of living in other countries, $500 might barely cover a week's worth of expenses, let alone an entire month. But in Mexico, it's a completely different story. Let me show you just how affordable it can be. Rent, $200, $300. Let's start with rent. Now, we all know that rent is usually the most significant chunk of our monthly expenses. Now, I know what you're thinking. This can't be true. How can rent be this low without sacrificing quality? Transportation. $20, $30. Next up is transportation. In most major cities across the U.S., you can expect to spend a chunk of change just to get from point A to point B. Even if you want to go a bit further, say, on a weekend trip to a neighboring city, the cost is still low. Utilities, $20, $50. Utilities, including water, electricity, and internet, are another area where Mexico really stands out in terms of affordability. The internet here is also reliable and very affordable. In most places, you can get a solid Wi-Fi connection for around $20 to $30 per month. Food and dining, $150 to $100, and then, of course, there's food. When it comes to eating out, you're in for a treat. Humor a relatable element. Now, can you imagine not having to worry about rent, utilities, or daily expenses like back home? Living on $500 a month in Mexico isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving. It's about enjoying life, feeling at ease with your finances, and experiencing all the incredible things this country has to offer without constantly worrying about your bank account. When I tell people back home how much I am paying for rent or how much I spend on groceries, they usually don't believe me. But once you're here, you realize that this lifestyle isn't a fantasy, it's reality. So, whether you're looking to make a fresh start, retire, or just take a long vacation, Mexico gives you the freedom to do it all while still living like royalty on a $500 budget. It's an incredible place to live, and it's affordable in a way you never thought possible. But don't just take my word for it, come see for yourself. There's something truly magical about eating fresh street food. Standing in the middle of a busy street or in a small neighborhood park, surrounded by the sounds of people chatting, music playing, and the smell of sizzling food filling the air. The local markets are filled with fresh produce at a fraction of the price you rate probably used to paying. Imagine walking through an open-air market and being able to grab a basket full of fresh fruit for just $5 to $10 a week. You can pick up juicy pineapples, avocados, mangoes, and papayas, or fresh herbs like cilantro, all at ridiculously low prices. The quality of the produce is often better than what you'll find in grocery stores back home. And it's all grown locally. Sure, tacos and street food are staples, but there's so much more. When you eat at a family-owned restaurant or a small local eatery, you're often experiencing recipes that have been passed down for generations. These aren't the kinds of dishes you'll find in a chain restaurant. They're homemade, bursting with flavor, and made with ingredients that are locally sourced. Each bite feels like a piece of the country's history, and you can really taste the care and effort that goes into each dish. From hearty soups like pozole and menudo to savory stews and grilled meats, the range of flavors and textures is endless, and because it's so affordable, you don't have to feel guilty about treating yourself to a meal out. You can find affordable restaurants that serve authentic Mexican food at prices you'd be hard-pressed to find in other major cities around the world. Whether you're in a trendy neighborhood or in a quieter part of town, there is always a local spot serving up delicious meals for a fraction of the price you'd pay for similar food back home. The beauty of Mexican dining is that it's not just about what's on the plate. It's about the atmosphere, the warmth of the people, and the joy of sharing a meal with friends and strangers alike. Imagine sitting down with friends at a local spot, sharing a few dishes, and enjoying everything from spicy salsas to fresh tortillas, all for $5 to $10 per person. It's a dining experience that's not just filling, but also a way to connect with the local culture and people. It's a sensory experience that is so much more than just eating. It's about soaking in the culture. The colors, smells, and hustle and bustle create such a lively atmosphere. And the best part is knowing that you're getting fresh, local food at prices you can't beat. Whether you're buying tomatoes for salsa, picking up a watermelon for a refreshing snack, or grabbing a bag of limes for your tacos, it's all affordable, fresh, and delicious. You can buy all your weekly groceries for around $15 to $20, including plenty of fresh fruit, veggies, grains, and even some meats if you choose to cook with them. Tacos on every corner, street vendors offering fresh fruits and snacks, and bustling markets filled with produce at prices that make you double-check your wallet. The food in Mexico is not only delicious, but it's also incredibly affordable, making it one of the best things about living here on a $500 budget. You might be thinking that on a $500 budget, eating out could be a rare treat, but that's simply not the case in Mexico. The cost of dining out here is surprisingly low, even in some of the best, most authentic local restaurants. I remember eating dinner at a local restaurant for just $5. And when I say restaurant, I'm not talking about some rundown joint. I'm talking about a small, family-run place that has been serving up incredible, flavorful meals for generations. The food wasn't just good, it was some of the best I've ever had. You can find meals made with fresh, local ingredients, cooked with love and passed down through the generations. Whether you're a foodie or just someone who loves to eat well without breaking the bank, Mexico's food culture will make your taste buds happy and your wallet too. Food and dining culture. How to eat well on a $500 budget when you think of Mexico. You can't help but think about the food. Street food and local cuisine. Let's start with street food because honestly, it's one of the highlights of Mexico. You can walk down nearly any street in any city or town, and you'll find tacos, tamales, quesadillas, and other treats being sold by vendors. The best part? A taco or two can cost you anywhere from $1 to $2. Yes, you read that right, $1 to $2 for a fresh, mouth-watering taco with all the toppings you could ever want. You'll find tacos with everything from marinated pork al pastor to steak, chicken, or even vegetarian fillings. The flavors are rich, spicy, and unlike anything you'll find in a fast food restaurant back home. And it's not just tacos. You can also find other snacks like tamales, quesadillas, and tortas Mexican sandwiches, all priced similarly, fresh fruit and market goods. If you're someone who enjoys fresh fruits and vegetables, Mexico will be your paradise. One of my favorite things to do in Mexico is visit the markets. Unique dining experiences now. Let's talk about dining out. What makes dining in Mexico even better is the variety. One of the most surprising things about dining in Mexico is how the food reflects the country's deep history and rich traditions. Affordable dining in Mexico City and beyond, even in bigger cities like Mexico City. Eating out doesn't have to be expensive. Humor, relatable element, and it's honestly hard to believe how affordable food is here. When you're used to paying far more for basic meals back home. I can't even tell you how many times I've walked down the street, grabbed a taco or a fresh fruit juice for $1 or $2, and thought to myself, how is this even possible? Whether you're grabbing a quick snack from a street vendor or sitting down for a traditional meal at a local restaurant, the food here is always fresh, flavorful, and incredibly affordable. From tacos on every corner to affordable, fresh ingredients at the local markets. The food culture here is a big part of what makes living on a $500 budget not only possible, but enjoyable. And trust me, once you start eating in Mexico, you won't want to stop. People here tend to be more open, relaxed, and non-judgmental when it comes to casual relationships. But in Mexico, there's a refreshing ease to how people approach connection. One woman I met shared how she is able to communicate openly about her desires and set clear boundaries without fear of rejection or ridicule. In her words, here, if you want to try something different, you can talk about it. People won't think you're strange for wanting to explore or for having an open mind. Back home, a first date often involves getting to know each other and possibly discussing a future together. It's a place where you can explore connections, have fun, and discover more about yourself without the weight of societal expectations. Whether it's in a dating situation or in a more established relationship, the culture encourages clear and respectful communication. It's not about reading between the lines or making assumptions. It's about being upfront with one another. This transparency not only creates a sense of trust, but also makes it easier for people to feel comfortable in their relationships. Whether it's about a romantic connection or simply enjoying someone's company, the idea is to embrace the moment and go with what feels natural. And that attitude carries over into so many aspects of life here. There's a relaxed approach to living, to work, and of course, to relationships. People don't feel the need to rush into anything, and they don't feel bound by strict rules about how things should unfold. But here, a first date might be just about enjoying each other's company, without feeling pressured to figure out where it's going. It could involve anything from grabbing coffee, dancing at a local club, or even just having a long conversation under the stars. No commitment, no pressure. The idea of a no-strings-attached connection is widely accepted, and it's not seen as something negative or out of the ordinary. It has this kind of openness that makes relationships in Mexico feel different than those in many other parts of the world. There is a sense of comfort that comes with knowing that people are willing to listen and respect your desires and boundaries, no matter what they are. Whether it's casual dating or more serious relationships, the overall atmosphere is relaxed and understanding. In countries with more traditional views on relationships, expressing your desires or exploring different dynamics can often come with shame or embarrassment. Coming from a more conservative culture, I wasn't used to the level of openness I encountered here. For instance, A typical first date in Mexico might involve more than just dinner and a movie. It could include spending time together, sharing personal stories, and exploring a connection without any expectation of commitment or labels. In some cases, it might even mean two people simply deciding to have a fun, no strings attached experience together. And guess what? No one bats an eye, no one looks at you strangely, and no one assumes anything. It's just the way things are here. But in Mexico, the atmosphere is much more laid back. People don't feel the need to hide who they are or be afraid of how others will perceive them. It's a huge contrast to what many might experience back home. There's an openness to exploring connections without the constant fear of being judged or labeled. People are more accepting of different relationship dynamics, whether they involve open communication, casual dating, or non-monogamous arrangements. This cultural openness makes Mexico a unique place when it comes to relationships. There's a freedom in how people express their desires and connect with others. It's not about a free-for-all where anything goes. Instead, it's about being open to what feels right without fear of judgment. Relationships here often take on a more fluid, flexible form, where there is less pressure to fit into predefined boxes, and more room for people to be themselves. Back in my hometown, that would be the cost of a cup of coffee, not a full meal. And the best part? The food is amazing. You might even end up eating out more often than you thought because, well, it's just so affordable and delicious. Living in Mexico on a $500 budget doesn't mean sacrificing good food. It means embracing a whole new world of flavors, fresh ingredients, and dining experiences that are beyond what you'd expect. So, if you've ever dreamed of living in a place where you can eat like royalty without breaking the bank, Mexico is the place to be. Mexico's open S*X culture. Why it's different. Mexico's approach to relationships and intimacy is different than what you might be used to, especially if you come from a more conservative or traditional background. In many places, there are unwritten rules about how relationships should develop or what they should look like. I had the chance to speak with a few locals, and their insights really opened my eyes to the way things work here. I've spoken to several others who've lived in more conservative places, and they all mentioned how refreshing it was to be in an environment where they felt free to express themselves without fear of judgment. Personally, it was a bit of a shock at first. For someone from a place where first dates come with a lot of expectations, this can be a pretty wild concept. The casual, laid-back approach to relationships in Mexico can be really freeing. One of the most striking things about the open attitude in Mexico is how much easier it is for people to communicate openly about their boundaries. It is important to note that this open attitude towards relationships doesn't mean that there is no respect or care in how people treat each other. In fact, the opposite is true. People in Mexico are generally very respectful of others' boundaries and are open to having conversations about what works for them. There's no pressure to act a certain way, and people are free to explore relationships and experiences at their own pace. It's this balance of openness and respect that makes Mexico's relationship culture so unique. Now, I know this might sound wild for someone from a more conservative culture, but the truth is, once you see it in action, it starts to make a lot of sense. It's not just about the beautiful landscapes, the colorful streets, or the delicious food. It's the way the country makes you feel. But after a while, you realize it's not just temporary. It's the lifestyle. The pace of life in Mexico is different. It's as though time doesn't move as fast here. Everywhere you go, you're greeted with friendly faces and warm smiles. Whether it is the shopkeeper who remembers your name, or the neighbor who invites you to join a family dinner, there's a sense of openness and hospitality here that makes you feel at home. This is a country where the sense of community is strong, and people genuinely care about each other. In many places, you might not even know your neighbors, but in Mexico, it's common for people to strike up conversations with strangers and offer help when needed. It's a refreshing change from the more reserved, fast-paced environments you might be used to. There's no rush to get everything done in one day, no pressure to be constantly working or stressing. Many expats, retirees, And long-term travelers come to Mexico because they can live more comfortably and affordably than they could in their home countries. The culture here is alive and vibrant, from the festivals and celebrations to the art and music that fill the streets. There's a sense of pride in Mexican culture, and it's something that you can feel in every corner of the country. Whether you're walking through the streets during a local fiesta or enjoying traditional music in a town square, there's a deep connection to the past and a joy in celebrating life that is contagious. It's a culture that welcomes visitors and invites them to become a part of its story. A $500 to $700 monthly budget in Mexico can provide you with a decent lifestyle, including rent, food, and entertainment. You can live near the beach, in vibrant cities like Mexico City, or in the more tranquil countryside, all while having a much higher standard of living compared to other places where costs are higher. This affordability means you can enjoy life without constantly worrying about finances, which is something that attracts many people to settle here for good. It's a place where people truly live their lives. This slower pace of life is a big part of why so many tourists decide to stick around. It is incredibly appealing to be somewhere that values relaxation and personal connection over the hustle and bustle of busy cities elsewhere. The people here are warm, welcoming, and ready to share their lives and culture with you. They were on vacation and planned to stay for a few weeks. But when I asked them why they didn't leave, their answer was simple: we came to visit. But we never left. There's something about the people, the pace of life, that made us feel at home. They told me that they instantly felt connected to the local community. It wasn't just the stunning beaches or delicious food that kept them here, it was the people. They felt like they belonged from the moment they arrived. That's the magic of Mexico. It's a place where even strangers are welcomed with open arms, and it doesn't take long to feel like a part of the community. There is a sense of community and connection that is hard to describe unless you've experienced it firsthand. In many parts of the world, life moves at such a fast pace that you feel like you're constantly rushing from one thing to the next. But in Mexico, everything feels a little slower. People take time to enjoy life, savor a meal, chat with neighbors, and soak in the present moment. The rhythm of life here invites you to relax and appreciate every minute of it. It is about being free to be yourself without the fear of being judged or boxed into a category. And whether it's for a short time or a long-term connection, Mexico offers a refreshing approach to relationships and intimacy that allows people to just be. It's not about rigid rules or expectations. It's about freedom, communication, and respect in the end. Mexico's open approach to relationships is one of the many things that make this country so different. It is an environment where people are free to explore who they are and what they want, without fear of rejection or judgment. So, if you raise someone who is looking for a place where you can live authentically and explore relationships in a more open way, Mexico might just be the perfect fit for you. Whether you're just visiting or planning to stay longer, you'll find that the culture here allows for a level of freedom and acceptance that is hard to find elsewhere. Why tourists never leave Mexico? What is it about Mexico that makes people want to stay? I met a guy who came here for a vacation and stayed for 2 years, and he has never looked back. He told me that, at first, he just wanted to experience the beauty and culture of Mexico for a short time. But after being here for a while, he realized he didn't want to leave. And he's not alone. Many tourists come to Mexico with plans to stay for a short visit, only to end up making it their permanent home. But what is it about this country that makes it so hard for people to leave? Let me tell you, it's the combination of the people, the culture, and the way of life that draws you in and makes you never want to leave. Once you step foot in Mexico, you immediately notice that the vibe here is different from anywhere else. When you first arrive, you might think it's just the excitement of a new place making you feel this way. I remember meeting a couple who decided to move to Mexico after just one visit. The people you meet in Mexico play a huge role in why it is so hard to leave. Another reason people stay in Mexico is the cost of living. Mexico is also home to a rich cultural heritage and traditions that are unlike anything you'll find in other parts of the world. One of the highlights of my visit to Pátzcuaro was the chance to experience the town's traditional Day of the Dead celebrations. Pátzcuaro is one of the best places in Mexico to experience this unique cultural event, and I was lucky enough to be there during the festival. The town was decorated with marigold flowers, candles, and colorful papel picado cut paper decorations, and the locals gathered in the cemeteries to honor their loved ones who had passed away. It was a beautiful and moving experience, and it made me realize how deeply rooted traditions and community are in this part of Mexico. These smaller towns, like Pátzcuaro, often offer an experience that's hard to find in the more tourist-centric areas. There is a certain authenticity and charm to them that makes you feel like you were really getting to know the heart of Mexico. When you hear about Mexico, it's often mentioned in the news in connection with crime and danger. The reality, however, is very different from the picture painted by sensational headlines. It's true that there are some areas in Mexico where crime rates are higher, but just like in any other country, not every place is the same. In fact, many parts of Mexico are incredibly safe, and I can honestly say that I've felt safer here than I have in some of the biggest cities around the world. People are typically very polite and value family and community above all else. Big cities like Mexico City and Guadalajara, like any major metropolis, have neighborhoods that might be less safe. Let me tell you that solo travel in Mexico can be just as safe, if not safer, than in many other countries. I've met solo travelers who've been coming to Mexico for years, and haven't had a single issue. They often say that what sets Mexico apart is the friendliness of the people, and how easy it is to connect with others if you're polite, respectful, and aware of your surroundings. You're going to have a much easier time staying safe. But that's not unique to Mexico. Every major city has areas where you should exercise caution. The key is to do your research and get recommendations from locals or fellow travelers on where to go and what to avoid. Most cities in Mexico have plenty of safe neighborhoods for tourists, and if you're careful, you'll have no problem enjoying the country. In most towns and cities, you'll notice a sense of order and peace. For instance, I've spent evenings in places like Guanajuato and San Miguel de Allende, where even at night, the streets are filled with people walking to restaurants or enjoying a quiet evening. The country is as diverse as it is beautiful, and the safety of each region depends on many factors. While it's true that some areas do have higher crime rates, you'll find that many places in Mexico are extremely safe, especially for tourists. If you take the time to research the area you're visiting and follow the same common sense precautions you would in any country, you'll find that there's nothing to fear. In fact, you might even be surprised by how friendly and welcoming the people are. I've never felt the need to look over my shoulder constantly or worry about my safety, which was a refreshing change from some other places I've visited around the world. From the vibrant markets of Oaxaca to the peaceful streets of Pátzcuaro, these places are where the magic happens. But the truth is that the vast majority of tourists and expats who come to Mexico never experience any problems. Oaxaca is a charming city full of life, and it has a reputation for being one of the safest places in Mexico. The slower pace of life means there's less chance for things to go wrong. People in these areas tend to know each other, and there's a stronger bond among residents. When you visit, you're treated as part of the community, and this makes it easier to feel comfortable and safe. Many locals are happy to offer directions, help, or even invite you to join in on local celebrations. Locals are friendly and kind, and there's a real sense of community here. People look out for one another, and it is not uncommon for strangers to stop and chat or offer help if you seem lost. Whether you're walking through the town square or strolling along one of the quieter streets, it is easy to feel like you're in a place where the people genuinely care about each other. This sense of community helps to create an environment where both locals and visitors feel secure. The media tends to focus on isolated incidents or specific regions, and it can create an inaccurate picture of the country as a whole. Just like any large country, there are areas you should be more cautious in, but there are also plenty of places where the crime rate is low, and the local community is extremely welcoming and protective of their visitors. Take the time to explore the lesser-known towns and regions. You'll be surprised by what you find. There's so much more to Mexico than meets the eye, and the hidden gems are waiting for you to discover them. They offer a chance to experience Mexico in a way that you won't find in the busy tourist destinations. Whether you're looking for a quiet escape or a deeper cultural experience, Mexico's small towns and hidden gems provide a rich, authentic experience that will leave you with lasting memories. You're not just a tourist passing through, you're a guest in someone's home, experiencing the local culture in its most genuine form. These towns are where you can truly disconnect from the hustle and bustle of daily life and just enjoy the beauty of the surroundings, the warmth of the people, and the simplicity of living. Mexico is full of hidden gems, places that aren't on the usual tourist brochures, but are definitely worth discovering. If you're planning a trip to Mexico, don't just stick to the popular tourist spots. Safety and security in Mexico. Busting the myths. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, safety. It's easy to get caught up in the negative stories we hear. I've personally walked through the streets of Oaxaca late at night, and I've never once felt unsafe. In many smaller towns, in less tourist-heavy areas, the safety factor is even more pronounced. It's also important to mention that in Mexico, there's a strong culture of respect, of course. Just like anywhere, there are areas in Mexico that are best avoided, especially after dark. A lot of people are concerned about the idea of traveling alone or exploring areas outside of the main tourist zones. The idea that all of Mexico is dangerous is one of the biggest myths I've come across. In addition to that, local law enforcement in many cities and towns are working hard to keep tourists safe. In popular areas like Playa del Carmen and Puerto Vallarta, there are police patrols and tourism offices set up to help visitors with any concerns they might have. Mexicans take pride in their country, and the overwhelming majority of them want tourists to have a positive experience. If you stay aware, avoid risky areas at night, and follow local advice, you'll likely find that Mexico is just as safe, if not safer, than many other countries. And while you may not see this as much in smaller, quieter towns, the sense of community itself does much of the work in terms of safety. Whether it's about how you dress, who you date, or how you spend your time, there's a freedom here that many tourists are drawn to. For example, the way people interact with each other is often more laid back and casual than in many other places. The culture here values personal freedom, which means people can be open about who they are, what they believe in, and how they choose to live. There's no judgment for stepping outside the norm. In many places, there's a pressure to live a certain way, to get the right job, to follow a particular career path, or to look a certain way in order to fit in. But nothing compares to the sense of freedom I've felt here in Mexico. It's like the weight of those expectations just doesn't exist in the same way. Whether you're an artist, a business person, a retiree, or a backpacker, Mexico welcomes everyone with open arms. There is no one way to live your life here. You can find your own path and follow it at your own pace. It's a place where you can reinvent yourself if you want to, or simply relax and enjoy the freedom to be who you are. For many people, this sense of freedom is a big part of why they decide to stay in Mexico for the long term. It is not just about the cost of living or the weather, it is about the chance to live without constantly worrying about expectations or judgments from others. People here are much more relaxed about life and their choices, and it makes a huge difference in how they experience the world around them. There's less stress, less competition, and more focus on enjoying what's around you. If you want to wear colorful clothes, express yourself through art, or try something new, you'll find that people here embrace it. Mexican culture has a strong focus on family and community, and people often prioritize spending time with loved ones over working long hours or chasing after success. While it's common to have a job and responsibilities, there's a strong focus on balancing work with relaxation. Many people in Mexico value time for themselves and their families, and they don't see working long hours as something to be proud of. It's not uncommon for people to take breaks during the day, enjoy a long lunch, or just sit and chat with friends. There's an understanding that life is for living, and that includes taking time to unwind and enjoy what you have. This slower pace of life is something I've come to appreciate during my time here. It is easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, but in Mexico, it's okay to take a step back and simply enjoy the moment. This means that life isn't all about running a rat race. It is about creating real connections with people. It's not unusual to see families spending time together in the park, friends gathering for a meal, or neighbors chatting and helping each other. These interactions help build a sense of community and belonging, which can be hard to find in other places where people are more focused on individual achievement. The attitude towards self-expression is one of the things that makes Mexico feel different from many other countries. People in Mexico are generally relaxed and don't worry about the same pressures that exist in other countries. The country has a culture of live and let live, where it's perfectly normal to do things that may not be as accepted in other places. For example, if you're in Mexico City or a small town, you'll often see people wearing whatever makes them feel comfortable, without worrying about how they look in comparison to others. Whether it's a flamboyant outfit or just dressing casually, there's no pressure to conform to a certain image. It is refreshing to be in a place where you don't feel like you have to meet someone else's standards. People are focused more on enjoying life, building relationships, and appreciating the moment, rather than on impressing others or living up to some idea of perfection. It's not just about living a cheaper life, it's about living a freer life. Whether it's dating, socializing, or pursuing passions, there's a strong sense that you can do what feels right for you. I've met so many people in Mexico who came here to find a new way of life, away from the pressure and judgment that can sometimes come with living in more traditional societies. The culture here encourages people to enjoy their lives and pursue what makes them happy. Whether it's working on a passion project, learning new skills, or simply enjoying the company of friends, it's not about keeping up with the latest trends or meeting societal expectations. It's about living in a way that feels authentic to who you are. There's a sense of being able to be yourself, without having to fit into any particular mold or follow strict rules about how you should behave or what you should do. People here are open-minded, and there's an underlying acceptance of different lifestyles, beliefs, and choices. One thing I've learned during my time in Mexico is that the key to staying safe is being aware of your surroundings and respecting local customs and culture. Safety in Mexico, like anywhere else, comes down to being smart and cautious. It's a country that offers so much beauty, culture, and warmth. And if you take the time to learn about the places you're visiting, there's no reason you shouldn't feel safe. Yes, there are areas where you should be more careful, but that's true for any country. Don't let the myths and negative headlines scare you away from experiencing all that Mexico has to offer. The truth is, once you arrive and see for yourself, you'll likely feel just as safe, if not safer, than you would in other parts of the world. Mexico's unique culture of freedom. One thing I noticed about Mexico is the freedom people feel here. This sense of freedom isn't just about big things like relationships or career choices. It shows up in the little everyday moments too. One of the most freeing things about Mexico is how easy it is to be yourself, without fear of judgment. This sense of freedom extends to how people live their personal lives. Personally, I've spent time in cities around the world, and I've seen how people live under the weight of societal expectations. It's not just about how people express themselves, it's also about how they interact with others. This culture of freedom also extends to how people spend their time. One of the most freeing aspects of life here is that there is room for all kinds of people. In addition to that, local law enforcement in many cities and towns are working hard to keep tourists safe. In popular areas like Playa del Carmen and Puerto Vallarta, there are police patrols and tourism offices set up to help visitors with any concerns they might have. Mexicans take pride in their country, and the overwhelming majority of them want tourists to have a positive experience. If you stay aware, avoid risky areas at night, and follow local advice, you'll likely find that Mexico is just as safe, if not safer, than many other countries. And while you may not see this as much in smaller, quieter towns, the sense of community itself does much of the work in terms of safety. It's a country that offers so much beauty, culture, and warmth. And if you take the time to learn about the places you're visiting, there's no reason you shouldn't feel safe. For example, the way people interact with each other is often more laid back and casual than in many other places. The culture here values personal freedom, which means people can be open about who they are, what they believe in, and how they choose to live. Whether it's dating, socializing, or pursuing passions, there's a strong sense that you can do what feels right for you. In many places, there's a pressure to live a certain way, to get the right job, to follow a particular career path, or to look a certain way in order to fit in. Mexican culture has a strong focus on family and community, and people often prioritize spending time with loved ones over working long hours or chasing after success. This means that life isn't all about running a rat race. It is about creating real connections with people. Whether you're an artist, a business person, a retiree, or a backpacker, Mexico welcomes everyone with open arms. There is no one way to live your life here. You can find your own path and follow it at your own pace. It's a place where you can reinvent yourself if you want to, or simply relax and enjoy the freedom to be who you are. For many people, this sense of freedom is a big part of why they decide to stay in Mexico for the long term. It is not just about the cost of living or the weather, it is about the chance to live without constantly worrying about expectations or judgments from others. It's not unusual to see families spending time together in the park, friends gathering for a meal, or neighbors chatting and helping each other. These interactions help build a sense of community and belonging, which can be hard to find in other places where people are more focused on individual achievement. But nothing compares to the sense of freedom I've felt here in Mexico. While it's common to have a job and responsibilities, there's a strong focus on balancing work with relaxation. Many people in Mexico value time for themselves and their families, and they don't see working long hours as something to be proud of. It's not uncommon for people to take breaks during the day, enjoy a long lunch, or just sit and chat with friends. There's an understanding that life is for living, and that includes taking time to unwind and enjoy what you have. This slower pace of life is something I've come to appreciate during my time here. It is easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, but in Mexico, it's okay to take a step back and simply enjoy the moment. It's like the weight of those expectations just doesn't exist in the same way. People here are much more relaxed about life and their choices, and it makes a huge difference in how they experience the world around them. There's less stress, less competition, and more focus on enjoying what's around you. I've met so many people in Mexico who came here to find a new way of life, away from the pressure and judgment that can sometimes come with living in more traditional societies. The culture here encourages people to enjoy their lives and pursue what makes them happy. Whether it's working on a passion project, learning new skills, or simply enjoying the company of friends, it's not about keeping up with the latest trends or meeting societal expectations. It's about living in a way that feels authentic to who you are. There's no judgment for stepping outside the norm. If you want to wear colorful clothes, express yourself through art, or try something new, you'll find that people here embrace it. The attitude towards self-expression is one of the things that makes Mexico feel different from many other countries. Yes, there are areas where you should be more careful, but that's true for any country. The country has a culture of live and let live, where it's perfectly normal to do things that may not be as accepted in other places. For example, if you're in Mexico City or a small town, you'll often see people wearing whatever makes them feel comfortable, without worrying about how they look in comparison to others. Whether it's a flamboyant outfit or just dressing casually, there's no pressure to conform to a certain image. It is refreshing to be in a place where you don't feel like you have to meet someone else. As standards, people are focused more on enjoying life, building relationships, and appreciating the moment, rather than on impressing others or living up to some idea of perfection. Don't let the myths and negative headlines scare you away from experiencing all that Mexico has to offer. The truth is, once you arrive and see for yourself, you'll likely feel just as safe, if not safer, than you would in other parts of the world. One thing I've learned during my time in Mexico is that the key to staying safe is being aware of your surroundings and respecting local customs and culture. Safety in Mexico, like anywhere else, comes down to being smart and cautious. Whether it's about how you dress, who you date, or how you spend your time, there's a freedom here that many tourists are drawn to. People in Mexico are generally relaxed and don't worry about the same pressures. that exist in other countries. It's not just about living a cheaper life, it's about living a freer life. There's a sense of being able to be yourself, without having to fit into any particular mold or follow strict rules about how you should behave or what you should do. People here are open-minded, and there's an underlying acceptance of different lifestyles, beliefs, and choices. Mexico's unique culture of freedom. One thing I noticed about Mexico is the freedom people feel here. This sense of freedom isn't just about big things like relationships or career choices. It shows up in the little everyday moments too. One of the most freeing things about Mexico is how easy it is to be yourself without fear of judgment. This sense of freedom extends to how people live their personal lives. Personally, I've spent time in cities around the world, and I've seen how people live under the weight of societal expectations. It's not just about how people express themselves, it's also about how they interact with others. This culture of freedom also extends to how people spend their time. One of the most freeing aspects of life here is that there is room for all kinds of people. Whether you're in a big city or a quiet beach town, the nightlife in Mexico has something for everyone. It's not just about going out to a club or bar. It is about experiencing the vibrant culture, the freedom to dance, socialize, and let loose in a friendly, welcoming environment is something you can't easily find anywhere else. Whether you're into lively club scenes or relaxed evenings with friends, the energy and excitement here are contagious. Whether it's retirees looking for a more relaxed lifestyle, digital nomads seeking a vibrant yet affordable place to work, or families looking for a change of pace, more and more people are choosing to make Mexico their permanent home. The country offers something that appeals to a wide range of people: a lower cost of living, a welcoming culture, beautiful surroundings, and a relaxed pace of life that many find irresistible. Mexicans are known for being friendly and kind, and they go out of their way to make visitors feel at home. For many expats, this is one of the main reasons they end up staying. In places like Lake Chapala, you'll find a large expat community made up mostly of retirees who have settled in the area to enjoy the affordable cost of living, the beautiful weather, and the active social scene. With affordable living costs, good internet connectivity, and plenty of places to work, it's no wonder so many digital entrepreneurs are making Mexico their base. Whether it's the bustling energy of Mexico City, the laid-back atmosphere of Playa del Carmen, or the picturesque surroundings of San Miguel de Allende, digital nomads are choosing Mexico for both the work opportunities and the chance to enjoy a more relaxed lifestyle. Because of the proximity to the United States and Canada, many expats find that they can maintain strong connections with their home countries, while also embracing a new way of life in Mexico. The ability to travel back and forth easily, combined with affordable living and a welcoming culture, makes it easy to enjoy the best of both worlds. The country has a growing community of freelancers, remote workers, and small business owners who can work from anywhere, and they're finding Mexico to be a perfect place to live and thrive. Puerto Vallarta, a popular coastal town, has also seen an influx of expats, particularly retirees and digital nomads. It's not just retirees who are moving here, it's people from all walks of life, from teachers to tech professionals, artists to entrepreneurs. Many families are choosing to raise their children in Mexico due to the lower cost of living, the opportunity to experience a new culture, and the friendly, family-oriented atmosphere. Whether it's living in a big city or a smaller town, families find that they can live comfortably and provide their children with a quality education, either through local schools or international schools. The relaxed pace of life and emphasis on family values align with many parents' desires to give their children a less stressful, more enjoyable childhood. And what's more, many expats say they're finding it easier to integrate into local communities than they initially expected. With the rise of online forums, expat groups on social media, and language exchange programs, it's become easier for people to meet others and form lasting friendships. This sense of community and the chance to build a new life in a welcoming environment are some of the biggest draws for expats choosing Mexico. The town offers a perfect mix of modern amenities, a vibrant expat community, and the beautiful beaches that draw people from all over the world. The warm, Relaxed atmosphere of Mexican communities makes it easy for people to connect and build relationships. P's, whether it's with locals or other expats. Whether you're grabbing a coffee at a local cafe or attending a neighborhood event, it's easy to feel like you're part of something bigger. It's a place where everyone can enjoy the night in their own way, and that's what makes it so special. Sarah had spent most of her life working in a busy school system in the United States, and when it came time to retire, she knew she wanted to live somewhere that would allow her to enjoy her golden years, without the financial burden that came with living back home. The cost of living is low, the people are warm, and the lifestyle is exactly what I wanted. Sarah told me. She mentioned that the combination of affordable living and the opportunity to be part of a community of like-minded people made it an easy decision for her to make Mexico her permanent home. I never thought I'd find a place that felt so right, she said. The slower pace of life and the opportunity to live comfortably without worrying about money has made all the difference. For many people, especially retirees, the cost of living in Mexico is much lower than in their home countries, allowing them to live comfortably on a fixed income. In places like Mexico City, Puerto Vallarta, or even smaller towns, you can enjoy a lifestyle that includes dining out, traveling, and exploring without having to worry about constantly stretching your budget. Rent, utilities, food, and entertainment are all much more affordable compared to many Western countries, which means you can enjoy a better quality of life without the financial stress that comes with living in more expensive places. If you're really looking for a place where the party never stops and the social scene is always alive, Mexico should definitely be at the top of your list. An energy of a place that loves to have fun and connect with others. From salsa dancing to beach parties, from rooftop bars to quiet lounges, Mexico offers an exciting and diverse range of nightlife options that make it a top destination. For anyone looking to have a good time, Mexico's nightlife and social life are a huge part of what makes the country so appealing. Mexico's expanding expat communities over the years. Mexico has become a hotspot for expats from all over the world. One of the main reasons Mexico has attracted so many expats is the affordability of living here. But it is not just the cost of living that makes Mexico so appealing to expats. It is also the country's welcoming culture and the sense of community that people find here. I spoke with Sarah, a retired teacher who moved to Mexico 10 years ago, and she shared her experience with me. Sarah's story isn't unique. Thousands of retirees, digital nomads, and even young families are discovering Mexico as an ideal place to live. Digital nomads, in particular, have found Mexico to be an ideal destination for work and play. The idea of making Mexico your home is becoming more and more common for people in their 30s, 40s, and beyond. For families, Mexico also offers an appealing environment. One of the most appealing aspects of expat life in Mexico is the ease with which people can create a home here. For those looking for a community of like-minded people, there are numerous expat groups across the country. These groups are a great resource for anyone looking to settle in Mexico. Whether they're seeking advice on housing, healthcare, or adjusting to life in a new country, these networks help people connect, share experiences, and support one another as they navigate life in Mexico. Mexico's expat communities are growing, and for good reason. The combination of affordable living, a welcoming culture, and a laid-back lifestyle makes it an appealing choice for people from all walks of life. Whether you're walking through the colorful streets of Oaxaca or sitting in a quiet plaza. In San Miguel de Allende, the culture here seems to wrap itself around you. The warmth and kindness of the locals are evident everywhere you go. When you're living here, it is not just about the practical aspects of life. It is about the feeling you get when you wake up to the sound of roosters crowing, the sight of the sun rising over the mountains, or the smell of fresh tortillas in the air. Every day feels like a new opportunity to connect with the country and the people in a meaningful way. The Day of the Dead celebrations, for example, are deeply moving and celebrate the lives of loved ones who have passed. It's in the small things, like the feeling of a warm breeze on your face as you walk through the streets, or the sound of laughter from a nearby family gathering. Mexico offers these moments of connection that make you feel at peace at home, and deeply connected to the place. It's hard to put into words, but once you experience it, you'll know exactly what I mean. Imagine being able to live comfortably without stressing over every penny, experiencing the vibrant culture, enjoying fresh, delicious food, the freedom to explore new experiences, connect with others, and be part of a community that values relationships over the fast pace of modern life is something that many people find irresistible. The warmth of the people, the beauty of the surroundings, and the sense of peace and calm that fills the air all combines to create an environment where people feel at home, no matter where they're from. This emotional connection to Mexico is what keeps people coming back, and for many, it's why they choose to stay long-term. It's a place that allows you to slow down, embrace life, and make the most of every moment. Whether you're looking for a place to retire, a spot to escape the hustle and bustle, or simply a fresh start, Mexico offers a lifestyle that's hard to beat, and having the freedom to live life on your own terms. From the affordable cost of living to the warm and welcoming people, Mexico really does have it all. Do you think it's really possible to live on a $500 budget? Or does it seem too good to be true? Maybe you've been considering a move, or maybe you have some doubts. Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear your opinion. Let's talk about it. Whether you're curious, excited, or still unsure, the beauty of Mexico is that it offers something for everyone. So, why not share your thoughts and keep the conversation going? The culture here is rich, the sense of community is strong, and there's an openness that invites people to be themselves. Whether it's the stunning beaches, the bustling cities, or the quiet small towns, there's a place for everyone to call home in Mexico. For many tourists and expats, it's the place they never want to leave. It's a kind of happiness that's simple but profound, a feeling of being in the right place at the right time. The community comes together to honor the dead with colorful altars, candles, and flowers. It's easy to get caught up in the pressures and fast pace of life, but in Mexico, there's a constant reminder to slow down, to enjoy the moment, and to appreciate what you have. The beauty of the landscape, the kindness of the people, and the rich cultural history all work together to create an emotional connection that is hard to find anywhere else. It is a reminder that life doesn't have to be about rushing from one task to the next. It can be about savoring the present, connecting with others, and truly experiencing the world around you. It's a time for remembrance, but also for joy and celebration of life. These kinds of traditions are woven into the fabric of Mexican culture, and experiencing them firsthand can make you feel like you're a part of something much bigger than yourself. It is not just about observing a celebration, it is about being invited to be a part of it, to share in the joy and the beauty of the traditions that have been passed down for generations. It's a place that invites you to slow down, live in the moment, and appreciate the beauty of life in ways you might not have thought possible. Whether you're in a big city or a small town, the people are always ready to help, share a smile, or invite you into their lives. I often spend hours just listening to the sound of the waves and watching the sky change colors. As the sun sets, it's about the connection you feel to the place, the people, and the lifestyle. Mexico offers a unique emotional escape from the chaos of the world, providing you with the space to relax, enjoy life, and feel at home. Whether it's the warmth of the people, the breathtaking landscapes, or the simple joy of living in the moment, Mexico has a way of creating a deep, lasting emotional connection that keeps people coming back for more. In those moments, it feels like the rest of the world disappears. There is a peace here that is hard to find elsewhere, a kind of emotional escape from the chaos of everyday life. It is as if Mexico gives you the space to let go of your worries and just breathe. Whether you're on a beach, in a city, or walking through the mountains, the country offers a unique sense of calm and joy that makes it impossible to feel stressed or overwhelmed. It has this sense of community and openness that makes Mexico feel like a place where you can truly belong. You can sit in a park for hours, chatting with a friend, or simply watching people pass by, and it feels completely natural. This isn't the kind of place where everyone is rushing to get somewhere. Here, the idea of enjoying life, taking time to rest, savor your food, enjoy your surroundings is deeply ingrained in the culture. People aren't just concerned with working or getting things done. They care about enjoying their time with family and friends, celebrating the small moments that make life special. This focus on enjoying life makes it easy to relax, let go of stress, and experience happiness on a deeper level. Locals are quick to make you feel welcome, whether you're asking for directions or just chatting with someone at a cafe. They take pride in their culture and their country, and they're happy to share it with others. The sense of connection here isn't just between people, it's a connection to the land, the traditions, and the history that make Mexico so unique. The bright colors of the buildings, the lively markets, and the sounds of music and conversation all create an environment that is rich in life and emotion. It's hard to explain, but there's an energy that fills the air, and it makes you feel alive. Even the food here carries with it a sense of warmth and comfort. The flavors are bold and exciting, but there's something familiar about them, like they're inviting you to slow down and enjoy life's simple pleasures. Whether you're a retiree looking for a more affordable place to live, a digital nomad searching for a new base, or a family wanting to experience a different way of life, Mexico offers something for everyone. There is something special about this country that touches you in a way you don't expect. Whether it's the vibrant colors of the cities, the warmth of the people, or the feeling of the sun on your skin, Mexico has a way of creating an emotional connection with you. It's more than just a place to live. It's a place that invites you to experience life in a deeper way, making you feel like you truly belong. People often say that when they come to Mexico, they feel something different, something that draws them in and makes them never want to leave. That connection is real, and it's one of the many reasons people choose to call this country home. The stories of expats like Sarah show that Mexico can be a place to start fresh, build new friendships, and create a fulfilling life, all while enjoying the beauty and warmth of this incredible country. The cultural and emotional impact of Mexico. Living in Mexico isn't just about the cost of living or the low prices, it's about the feeling you get when you're here. There's something about the atmosphere here that makes it stand out from anywhere else. The people of Mexico play a huge part in this emotional connection. For many people, this emotional bond to Mexico is what makes it so hard to leave. Personally, I can't tell you how many times I've found myself just sitting on the beach, soaking in the atmosphere. In Mexico, life is a bit slower, and that slower pace allows for moments of true connection. The festivals and traditions in Mexico also play a big role in creating an emotional connection to the country. I've had my own moments of emotional connection with Mexico, moments when I've felt like the country has truly embraced me. The emotional impact of living in Mexico also extends to how people view the world. The cultural and emotional impact of Mexico is something that goes beyond just the beauty of the country. So, what do you think? Could you see yourself living in Mexico on a $500 budget, embracing a more open, relaxed lifestyle? Living in Mexico isn't just about saving money, it's about embracing a new way of life, one that's more relaxed, less stressful, and focused on enjoying the present. But beyond the practical benefits, there's something deeply emotional about living in Mexico. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know. Would you make the move to Mexico?